Brent Smith, Zack Myers, thanks for being on Rock Sugar Magic.
Hi, thank you very much.
This is our first long form studio podcast we've done, so we're excited that it's with you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You guys this is your first podcast, so I'm honored.
First podcast ever.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to roll into this.
I mean, you've done a ton of radio, but
now where exactly are we? We're in a studio called the what? Lazy Pickle?
This is Lazy Pickle.
Studios.
It's run by two very awesome young girls, Sid and Ashley.
One's off camera.
One's off camera here. Now. Yeah. And they're awesome. They've got they just started building with one studio, then another studio. Now they have three completely different looking studios. They're awesome. So yeah, I'm very
stoked
lucky
to be here.
Happy to be here.
It's got a cool vibe though, I gotta say. It's very it's warm.
It is.
I like
it's very homey.
It's different than radio, which can tend to be sometimes cold or not as pretty and not, so I'm very happy
This looks
about
like an office building with a desk and mics in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we're always stoked when we go into radio studios and there's a vibe in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also too, when you're doing those types of events, sometimes you got 10 minutes, you might have 20 minutes, but you got to kind of get to the points and then next.
Yeah. Sixth Sense had one, remember? With Nikki.
Studio.
And that was a great studio.
Well, it felt like home, and that's kind of what you want it to feel like.
Right.
Because there's no, when you do an interview, you're going in and you're supposed to be yourself. You're obviously doing an interview to sell or peddle whatever you're doing, but you go to an interview and it's how do you be yourself in this stiff, weird environment? So if you come in and you make people feel comfortable, that's awesome.
Nikki was always good at making everybody be cool.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was pretty chill.
We had so much fun. And it was so fun to have you guys in. And when you came in and just acoustically sang your songs, you sound just like the record. There's no difference.
We try to do that when we can.
Probably put the microphone about 10 feet from him because he's the loudest person on earth.
Well, the other thing too, the acoustic aspect of what we do is so important, but the fact of the matter is 80% of what we do when we go in and write a record, most of the time it's coming from an acoustic guitar because we'll look at the melody first in or at least I do, because you have music and lyrics, but we're always trying to kind of hone in on exactly what we're doing at that time. Even some of the, the fastest songs we have or the heaviest songs we have, they started on an idea might have came from a piano or an acoustic guitar. So it's always good when you write these songs in that way before you bring all the production, if you bring it back to how the song was born, that's always a plus.
And I always loved when MTV would do Unplugged.
Yeah,
loved that.
Storytellers and Unplugged were my two favorite things to watch.
100% agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just,
I was telling Brent a Tom Petty story the other day about Free Fallin'. We were in the car listening to Free Fallin'. I was watching the Tom Petty Storytellers, and that whole first verse was a joke that he's talking about. He's talking to Jeff Lynne. He's like, she's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus, America too. He's just joking around,
kind of putting a voice on.
Yeah, he's doing a fake voice, and then Jeff Lynne's like, yeah. He goes, what? Yeah. He goes, that's the lyric. And he's like, no, it's not. I was kidding.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, no, that's how the song started. So I love those shows. Anytime we always talk about how we don't really like to talk about what our song's about in depth, just because, we think that a song should be whatever the listener makes it. And I still do believe that. But it is fun sometimes to hear what songs that you like are about.
I love that. This is an interesting story. When I was a kid, I went to school with Adria Petty, whose father's Tom Petty. Yeah. So I would go up to their house. For this years. We would go into his studio, and he's got all those guitars. And we would literally play on his guitars and his equipment. And he had that one with the double and the 12 strings or whatever. So I learned to play a couple tunes on one of his guitars. Just learned a couple chords. Nothing. I can't play guitar.
I'm highly upset with you.
Yeah.
Right now.
So that was always interesting. I grew up with him, and he was always so kind, and his wife Jane and Kim and that family for a few years. I was at their house all the time. This is where when you're a kid, we look back and you go, oh my God, I was in a room with the Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah, you have that though.
When they were all there.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
and there's George Harrison, there's Roy Orbison, there's all these people, and I'm literally ew, old guys, let's go. Adrian, let's go.
Can we please go draw on the sidewalk with chalk?
Literally, I'm in a room with legends. I'm in a room with people that...
But you don't necessarily know that until later on.
4 of the greatest songwriters to ever exist.
In the world, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, Yeah, I was cool. I met
So how
Annie
old were
Lennox
you
over
at
there.
that time?
Too old to not appreciate it, I think. I was in...
Teenager?
No, I was, let's see. We went to
She's
school.
trying to not give away her age right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, no, I'm
can see
51. I talk about it all the time.
You're
I talk
how
about it all the time.
old?
You're what?
Thank you. I'm going to use that for my anti-aging cream.
My God.
Hold on.
That was an ad right there.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'm 51.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I always thought you and I were closer to the same age.
How old are you?
He's 77.
Yeah, it looks so
I
good.
just turned 40.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Huh.
Yeah, you look like a kid too. You guys look.
Well, I look older than you.
No,
That's
I'm 51.
unfortunate.
So, and I talk
You look
about
like
it.
you just got out of your 20s.
Oh, yeah. Keep talking.
Keep going.
Keep talking.
Just calling it like we see it.
So how old were you? How old do you think you were? So that would have been in the...
I think 11.
That was
if
in
I'm
the
not
80s.
So it
mistaken.
was chalk
Like
on the
11,
sidewalk. You were like, let's
12.
get out of here.
But no.
Yeah.
We got stuff to do.
Yeah, so I was young, but
What
not
a wild
that
thing.
young, right?
That, you know what? Like, I don't... well, again, this is what podcasts are for, but like, you know, like I hate this place, like California. Like I'm not a big California person, but like
I'm not either anymore.
But what I'm saying is like those are the stories though when you hear like people, because all you guys like went to this. There was only like 3 schools you could really go to at that point.
It was a small
back
private
then.
school.
That's what I'm saying. So like I love what I'm saying. I didn't mean to just like shit on California and then like get out of it, but like no, like I love like old Hollywood stories like that, because like everyone went to the same schools and they were like all friends with each other, especially at that time. Like what a cool situation to be in, where like you're in a room just trying to hang out with your friend, and then like you're like, I wish Roy Orbison would shut up
Oh my gosh.
so we can talk about boys.
It is unique being in California.
Yeah.
Growing up for a little while in Beverly Hills and going to school with people who had famous parents. It was
Beverly Hills High.
There's something
all
very
that.
like
I got out
romantic
of there
and
as fast
charming
as I could.
about
I
it.
only did 6 months in Beverly Hills High, but before that,
Back in the day, it used to, I think it was like the number 2 public school in the country. Like
Yeah.
back in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah, way back.
Yeah.
And they had their own oil field.
I did not
Do you
know that.
Yeah.
No.
See, I lived like, I'm from Tennessee, but I came out to California early days, like, 1999, 2000, 1. But in 2010, I bought a house in Thousand Oaks. Because we were doing a lot of work out in Malibu and Los Angeles and what have you. So I had a house for 6 years, but I was never in it. I still got a license. My license is from California still.
You didn't change it over?
I did not.
It's probably
no.
expired, honestly.
No, it's 2028.
Wait, what?
I just got my gold bear. I got my real ID just
the
recently.
Taxes here. You got to get out of here. Taxes. You got to. I
His
hope you're not
mail
like.
doesn't.
Oh, I
come
run that through a whole different thing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out IRS.
Please.
in. You used to till today. Yeah, we're about to look into this motherfucker.
Oh,
That's a good thing about me. I'm by the book.
Okay.
I'm
good.
by the book with them taxes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Because here's the thing, I live in hotels. I'm on the road 280 days out of the year, so I write everything off.
People think I'm joking when I say that he's homeless. He is homeless.
But where is your house?
He doesn't
have a
have
house.
a house.
Wait, what?
I have
When
two
I say-
suitcases,
When
and
I
that's what I
tell
have
you
with
he's
me.
homeless, he's homeless. He doesn't own a home. He doesn't own an apartment. He doesn't own a car.
Okay, but you have
He
a
has-
family and you have a house, and how
I love
do you?
that segue, but you have a family.
Yeah, and a house, right? No, so I'm just trying to think.
A couple
You're-
houses.
Yeah, but you're on the same schedule.
I could just give one of them to him. He could just,
That's what I'm trying to do is just, hey, man.
He
You've got enough. I could share
he
in
owns
this.
like the biggest Samsonite suitcase you can get.
No, that's a Toomey.
It's a Toomey now. Sorry.
Shout out to Toomey.
And then he has a carry-on. He has a Toomey or Briggs and Riley
Briggs and
carry-on.
Riley, best.
yeah.
And that's what he owns, and a cell phone.
Here's the thing about Briggs and Riley, too. They have the lifetime.
Stop
like,
trying
That's
to
right.
change the fact that you're homeless. And
No,
you
I
just
know,
don't wanna
but they
talk about
do.
it.
Like Briggs and Riley has like the lifetime
warranty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they were like, oh, well,
it takes
ship
6
it
months.
here,
Yeah.
Yep.
and we'll send you a loaner. I'm like, what are you talking
I just
about?
want my suitcase
Toomey
back.
is like I love Toomey because they're made well, and basically they say we'll give you 5 years, and
Yeah,
then
that's it.
that's
I have
the
my Briggs
warranty.
and Riley, and I've had it for almost 10 years. It has been, I don't know how they make this thing. I take it down through stairs. I've trashed it, and it's never broken.
Yeah,
it's been so
I'm
great.
much more like I'm on the road so much that my cycle usually is 3 years per bag. Like every 3 years, I gotta get a new bag.
You're constantly.
What do you mean so much? You're always on the road because you don't have a house.
I know.
You're not on the road. You're the road. That's where you live. You live on the road. You can't say you're always on the road so much. You're always.
When I was growing up, my mother was always with people, you know. Now too, they'll be like, "What was he like as a kid?" And she was like, "He was 10 years old and he was over it." She was like, he's like, can I be an adult now? This is boring. Like, can we speed this up? Like, I just did not want to be a kid. She was like,
play? Did you sing? What did you know that's what you wanted to do?
Out of the womb. Straight out of the womb. I don't have a conscious thought of what I do for a living, which I take very seriously. The fact that I'm able to do it with my best friends and my brothers.
When did you start playing guitar?
I started playing, like, I'm not a great guitar player. I'm kind of what I call myself as a blueprint writer.
He's better than he gives himself
than
credit
most,
for.
yeah.
I started playing guitar when I was 14, but like I knew I wanted to be a singer probably at the age of like 3 years old, because like when I could hear, as soon as I could put a conscious thought together and I could hear the melody more than anything, like I knew that I've always looked at the voice as an instrument, because some people will be like, well, you're a singer. I'm like, no, there are people that are singers, and then there's people that use their voice as an instrument. And like Amy Winehouse used her voice as an instrument. You know, Otis Redding used his voice as an instrument. So, you know, and I'm a very cerebral individual because I'm always focusing on the lyrical aspect, like what is the message? But my earliest memory is, you know, I've never wanted to do anything else than what I'm doing today.
That is awesome. And that I do believe when you put all your focus and you do the work that needs to be done, you're going to get there.
Yeah.
I really believe that. You know, sitting there, I see people like, yeah, well, I'm manifesting it. I'm making a board. I'm like, okay, cool. But you have to put the work into it.
Yeah.
You really do. And you have to visualize it.
Same thing with people in Google Docs and big email chains. I'm like, this is great that you can fundamentally put all this stuff together. Can you execute any of that?
You'll never meet a dude who hates an email more. He would just rather get on the phone, which in his defense, it is the better way to do it, but it's like we've just come to this world where like emailing is better. So like he's the guy, like I always see these memes about like people being like this, or like the Ben Affleck meme. So it's like when I send you a text and you call me back immediately.
That's me.
That's
That's me.
Because I can get it done in 5 minutes, what will take 3 days on an email chain.
Absolutely. And the texting that keeps going long, and it's like, okay, call, and then when people don't pick up, you know they're right there, they're texting you, and
that's
I'm like,
that's annoying. That's annoying when you call them, when you text somebody, you call them and they don't answer.
Pick up.
That's annoying. I will say, if he gets about,
you're much better about that with me. He used to not do it, but he's got 3 kids, so I understand now why.
I used to not. I just wouldn't pick up.
Yeah.
Now I pick up all the time because it's like I understand where he's coming from. He's right. We can just get it done, and it's way easier. But like once the email gets to like 10 emails, he'll be like, there's way too much going on in this email chain.
Do you have somebody you can just throw your emails to, like just somebody who like helps you?
No, I have to do it.
No, he does it all. Okay. We've been
some comedian the other day did a bit on it. She was like, stop we beg of you. Stop CCing all these people on these.
Also, for some reason,
who is Sharon?
At our label,
she ain't got nothing to do with what we doing right now.
At our label too, when somebody from our label replies to an email, every email you ever sent comes up in it.
Oh, yes.
And it is so annoying. And so I understand his point, but it's funny, like it's like, stop all these email chains. Can we please get on a conference call?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
I want to go back to last night.
Yeah.
The iHeartRadio Music Awards. You guys were nominated for a song that, and this blew my mind. Planet Zero, freaking awesome album.
Thank you.
Yeah. And how do you write a song 2 years and have it end up on the charts now? What?
I think it was, I don't know. How do you think that happened?
I think a great song finds its space. Even if it's later, you look at the Stranger Things, the Kate Bush song, right? Like, what a great song. Yeah. But it really, back in the day, like it was a mediocre hit. Like, it wasn't this huge thing. I think great songs will always find their place. That just shows, like, him and I always bring up Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift. It's a 5-year-old song that went #1. Like, I think a great song is always going to find its place. With that one, I mean, it did go to radio last year, but we've now crossed over 5 different radio formats, which is so unheard of, especially for a band labeled or viewed as a rock band. We know we're more than a rock band.
We're also known for making albums. Like, we don't go in with a single mentality. We've never been like that. Even with the way that the consumption of music is now, you can evolve and you can navigate the industry. But the fact of the matter is, when we walk into a studio or we walk into writing sessions, that we're clear in what we're doing. And what we're doing is, don't walk into that room to write a song because you want it to make you famous. Go in and write the songs because you have something to say. And with Symptom, it was one of those elements where we wrote Planet Zero, the album, in the midst of a pandemic, at the height of it. And so we knew people were frustrated, that they were scared, they were upset, they were hurt, they were angry. And that song was one of those elements where that was a gift in a lot of ways. And a gift is kind of a song that writes itself and utilizes you as a vessel. You don't get a gift on every record. I think over the years, I feel as if maybe from the beginning, 45, our song, that was a gift. I think Second Chance was a gift. And Symptom was a gift because it needed to be born, because it was important. But that song is about all of us and the fact that we're all a work in progress, and you're allowed to have as many human moments as you need in your lifetime. So I think that the song, I think a lot of people needed it.
Yeah.
I know I needed it.
It was such a good song. Like you said, I think people needed that. And here's just a little bit of it.
Sometimes I'm in a room where I don't belong, and the house is on fire and there's no alarm, and the walls are melting too. How about you?
Oh, I love that song, and I love so many of your songs. And I want to get into the Second Chance story. I went and saw you guys. I think it was MGM. You were with Papa Roach and Spirit Box.
Oh, yeah, the MGM Arena in Vegas,
So my boyfriend.
Was that the first time we played MGM?
It was. I thought you guys said that.
Yeah.
Didn't you say that?
2012?
Oh, I thought you guys said that.
Yeah.
That it was like the first time, but maybe
Anyway,
not.
sorry.
Yeah.
He probably did say that.
We digress. Yeah. So my boyfriend Ashba takes me to your concert because I'm like, oh, I love Shinedown. Like, you want to go?
We love Ashba.
Aw. And he said to say hi, guys.
Hi.
He's the best.
He is. I love him. And so he takes me there, and he knows that you guys are going to play this song. And right before it,
I might have told him.
I'm sitting there, and they're like, just get your camera out. I'm like, why? Get your camera out. So I'm like, it was like on this certain song.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. So I'm filming it.
There's no sounds going on right now.
And they're like, and so I start to record, and he's recording me, and I didn't know this, but I'm recording, and my dad's voice comes on.
I'm Casey Kasem. Well, now we're up to the #1 song in the land, and I look back at 4 amazing decades, from disco to new wave, from punk to hip hop, from bubble.
It's the last song it was his last #1 before signing off, and it was you guys.
Yeah.
Second Chance. I know. And like literally, I was just crying. He was crying. Like everyone, I'm like, wow. Because when we first met, you told me, I was like, when you told me about that.
Yeah.
You told me that, hey, your dad signed off with our song, and that was like almost 40 years of doing the top 40 countdown.
Yeah.
And it was you guys. That was so awesome. But the fact that you keep his memory alive.
We take your dad with us everywhere.
Everywhere, you told me.
Yeah. All around the world.
All around the world, because we love to tell that story because of how endearing it is and how real it is and how honest it is.
And for us too, like, you got to think, like, every night, I mean, that never gets old, because like that's who we grew up listening to. Yeah. Like all my radio memories, and I'm not saying this because we're in the room with you. I've said this in several interviews. Every radio memory I have is your dad's voice. Well, from a kid, wow. I don't like remember like a ton of like I'm kind of known in the band for like remembering everything, like tell you where we were 15 years ago today and what he was wearing. But for some reason, my childhood, and I had a great childhood, I just don't remember a ton of things. But like every radio memory I have is like we had a house in like Heber Springs, Arkansas, and like going there and like hearing him introduce songs, like, and all these things. And I'm like, so like when we play that live, it like brings you right back to that. And it's such a cool moment. And it's also cool because like people hear it and you see people be like, oh, like this is the voice of my youth.
Yeah.
You know, you see people in the crowd. And then when he says the name of the song and then it's immediately the song starts, it's a very emotional part of the show.
It's so emotional, not only because it's his last song, but if you knew how sick he was and what it took for him to get through that last show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
I
can
that.
hear it in his voice.
Yeah.
And he was so sick. And
what was he sick from?
he was first diagnosed with Parkinson's, which he may have had.
Okay.
But it was Lewy body dementia, which
Okay.
is one of the worst dementias. It takes like 7-8 years and you're out. You're done.
Oh, wow.
But the one thing with that dementia is that it's not like Alzheimer's. He knew who we were the whole time. He was never gone.
Yeah.
My dad was there, but he'd had delusions. He couldn't, when he thought of something, he couldn't verbalize it. And like speaking and communicating for your whole life and then not being able to use your voice.
Yeah.
When you're known, that's what your thing is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I heard that, I could hear that too. Just
Yeah.
how sick he was. And that was his life.
Right.
I'd always ask my dad, why don't we go on vacations? Let's go here. Let's go here. Why would I take a vacation from my life? I love what I do.
Yeah.
He would always say that.
That's
And
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds like something.
I love that.
That sounds like something you
No,
would say.
that I relate to that. I relate to that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do. You know, it's, you know, you're, again, you know, growing up, I was always taught, find something that you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
That's right. I love that quote. I am there now, and I have been for the last few years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
There was, you know, I had to work on a lot of jobs I didn't want to do, or I just, they
That's
were
good
okay.
character building.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, because
You learn what you don't want to do when you do that.
it's very true. It's very true. And I knew that I had to take certain jobs I didn't want to do, but it would forward my career. And even though I had my last name and my dad was super famous in the radio business, nobody's going to stick you on air on their station just because you have a famous last name. You have to have chops, and then better than most. So I went.
It
to radio
almost
school.
works against you having the last name.
They're like, okay, let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
And
What if you started
started with
talking when you were
overnights.
younger and you sounded exactly like your dad?
My brother sounds a lot like my dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Very much so. He would fill in for his countdown shows and everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, that's a whole nother story though why I didn't get it. But a whole nother story. Yeah, so I remember my dad saying, why don't you try radio? And I thought, Dad, people can't see you. Why would I do radio?
Yeah,
I swear. I wanted to do Broadway.
That's exactly what you should have said,
Yeah,
though.
but I did. I said that to him. I'm
Yeah.
like, people can't see you, Dad. I'm like,
Yeah.
like I want to be out on stage. I wanted to do
Got a
musical
face
theater.
for radio.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what I was looking at.
Yeah.
That's not what I was looking for either.
I feel like everyone knew what he looked like, though.
Well,
Maybe it was
'cause
just
that was the
time
thing.
period,
he
like-
did TV show. He was the first person ever to play music
Dick
videos.
Clark and
Yeah.
Casey
that's right.
Kasem, man. You
Dick
knew what
Clark,
those dudes
you
looked
knew
like.
what they looked like.
And Dick Clark gave him his first TV show, Shebang.
Oh,
Where
wow.
it was like,
Oh,
do you remember
snap.
Shebang?
Yeah.
Oh my
All the people
gosh.
like dancing in the
Yeah,
background.
dancing.
Yeah.
And so Dick Clark gave him that show. And then he went on to do America's Top 10, where he would play part of the video. So people got so upset. Like, why play the whole video, man? It's like, well, we don't have much time. I think they played the whole
Soul
video for the
Train's
first
coming
time.
on in 10 minutes. We got to go.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So Second Chance is such a good song.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. But there are songs that I still listen to, even though I've heard them over and over again, that still make me tear up.
Yeah.
And there's my friend Aniko, who loves you guys. She was at that concert too when we were at MGM, and she had stage 4 cancer and almost died.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and you guys got her through it. So I just want to shout out to Aniko and the people that you do that for, because that's what your songs do.
I got to tell you, though, like, that's something that, you know, especially in the last few years, I've noticed it more. Like, you know, music is a powerful thing, and especially when you're talking about songs, but exactly what you said, you know, I've seen songs cure cancer.
Yes,
It's pretty powerful.
that's right.
There's just a different level inside of that because we're all connected to one another.
Yeah.
And like, there is nothing that ever is going to take the place of, and the whole idea of rock and roll as a genre is one aspect, but rock and roll really is a spirit.
Yeah.
It's more of a way of life for people. I've said this a few times, but you know, in that community, you know, it's not necessarily about a genre. It's about a community of people where anyone from anywhere at any time is welcomed all the time.
Yes.
That's what rock and roll represents.
I
I remember when NWA got inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Ice Cube went straight to the mic and was like, rock and roll is the spirit, and we're honored to be here. Like, it's that inclusivity and not having any, there should be no barriers or any boundaries when it comes to music. And I mean, that's the beauty of it, is that when you put people together in a room, you're never going to replace the dynamic of drums, bass, guitar, badass vocals, and a killer song. It just will never go out of style.
I agree with you 100%. Do you think, though, like there's this, you know, music comes in and out, right? So you have like, there was back in the 80s, it was the rock, and that was what, to this day, like rock music is my heart and soul. That's when I hear something rock and I hear a good song in rock. I love anything that makes me feel something. It doesn't matter if it's pop or opera or country or whatever. I love music.
Yeah.
I love it all. Most of it except reggaeton. I'm so sorry if you like reggaeton.
Sorry, J Balvin.
Yeah, I just can't. It's the only thing
Who?
J Balvin. Apologies, sir. Bad Bunny. Our bad.
Sorry. That's not, Bad Bunny is not reggaeton. Like, that's kind of more. There's more of a, like, to me, it's not just ba-bum, ba-bum, whatever that rhythm is over and over and over and over.
I'm learning so much right now.
Okay, so no, sorry. Look, it's the only thing I can't listen to, but I listen to everything. But what gets my heart with, like, puts an emotion through my entire body is a rock song. I don't know why. Metalcore, death metal. I know that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
That will just, it stops me. I just sit in it, and there's a feeling that I get from that then nothing else will give me.
If anyone looked at you right now, they would be like, I don't think they'd be like, she listens to metalcore.
Yeah, I know. It's I just do, and I love it. But
there's been multiple studies done at different like schools and what have you, where they'll play like heavy metal and or like, you know, like you said, grindcore, and for some reason, like they'll put plants. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I've seen those studies.
And everyone's like, oh, we're going to play the death metal and the plant's going to die.
Yeah, no.
And it's the complete opposite.
It grows
the plant like grows.
What is that? But then again, I'll sit in like Broadway, and the first note that the orchestra strikes up, I'm crying.
Yeah.
So it's a different emotion.
Yeah.
So like for me, like doing musical theater and
well, because the human being had to create the instrument.
Yeah.
That's another thing that people forget about. Like, why are we so connected to this stuff? And it's like, well, because we created it all.
And this frequency that it has.
The sound.
Everyone, what is it, the thing about there's only 12 notes, but it's how you play them.
Yes. Yeah, or like they say, you can, if you know the 5 chords on a guitar, you can play anything too. Yeah. But it's how you play it. Yeah. Once again, going back to my boyfriend, he says the same thing. You can strike one chord and it will resonate with an entire stadium.
Yeah.
It's how you strike that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Second chance.
Yeah.
First chord.
That first chord.
Everyone's like, I know that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I started making a joke years ago. I would say, well, you know, Garth Brooks has a chord, and I would play like the intro to Friends in Low Places.
Yeah, yes.
You play the intro to Stairway to Heaven. I was like, well, I have a chord too, and I'd play second chance. Like it's how you do it. It's you know, I think, to me, music is like invoking emotions in people with not necessarily the song, but also how you deliver the song to those people. Like, you know, if he's on stage and we're in front of 13,000 people, I can go up to him and like instantly make the show better by doing a certain thing, or making people remember it more by doing a certain thing. So if you have those moments and you know where they are to do them, that's the best place to do it. Right. You know, you have to, it's your job as the delivery of these songs that you wrote. They're your songs, but to make people remember them even more. And like, again, the delivery of everything is, I mean, that's the key to anything.
Is it hard to deliver 100% every single night, or is that easy for you?
No, yes and no.
You have to condition yourself to understand that there's something bigger than you going on.
Yeah, and also like, but you're also gonna have days where I've never had a day where I didn't want to be there, because we have the greatest job ever. Like some days going to work has saved my life, you know, where I'm just like, I don't want to even be here today, like physically in my own body. But I don't think you ever like struggle with it. I think that there's days where you'll go on stage and he's had plenty of days where he's gone on stage and he not feeling the show, but just wasn't feeling himself, or just in a bad mood, or we had a bad day business wise or something like that. And it's like,
but you try to never bring it on stage.
You never bring it on stage. And even if you do, and we have, it goes away really fast.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
same. The minute I work, whatever is going on, even when I had all my dad issues and everything, when I stepped in front of the mic, that was gone.
But
I'm here now.
That's your
like,
it's your escape too. It's your job, but it's also your escape. And I think that when people come up to us and they go, you know, you don't understand what you've done for me. I'm like, yeah, I do. Yeah. I completely do. Because you don't understand what doing it does for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's like the most misconceived thing. It's like, man, you don't know what your music's done. I'm like, yeah, I do. Because we wrote it to make it do it for us. And the fact that they connected with it too is just the ribbon on the whole present, you know? But yeah, I think, but there's nights where we go up and if he's having a bad night, I can tell. I ain't going to let him have a bad night. People see there's videos of me, like I'll walk up to him and I'll oil check him. I'll do whatever. I'll put my nose literally in his ear and just go, and like, cause like you got to break that, like, because I know he doesn't want to be having a bad time.
Sure.
He's doing the thing he loves to do the most. But some days it just gets on you. And
it's called life.
It's
life, Sometimes it happens.
I'll be honest about it because I think that sometimes people, they call it LSS, lead singer syndrome.
Or LSD, lead singer disease.
Yeah.
And what is that? So
it's the idea that people sometimes don't understand unless you're a singer at like a certain level or just in general. Like we're the same type of ideology in this band. It's like you play the same show for 5 as you would for 500,000 because we've done both. But the thing is that I can't plug my instrument up. So what I have to figure out is like when I'm on tour, and sometimes I think people think that it's something where there's a diva-esque element to it. And maybe there is for certain people, but I think that if I could give you a little bit of an entry into the Pandora's box of being a lead singer, at least from my standpoint, I wake up in the morning when we're on tour, all I care about are the people I'm going to play for that night. Yeah. And the only thing I care about are the 3 other gentlemen that I'm on stage that I want to make them proud. I want to give them the spotlight. And I don't want to mess up. And I want to be able to sing at the top of my lungs. And you can be healthy, and we are. And you work really, really diligently when you're on the road too, like with your diet and with exercise and all that. And you get to a certain point, like when you can carry catering, that's a luxury on tour. Because at the end of the day, nobody in that audience, and they shouldn't, by the way, they don't care if you're having a bad day. Right. They don't care if you're sick, and they shouldn't. Like, they have given up their entire evening. You don't know how long it's been that they've waited to see you, how many years it's been, how much money they had to save, all the things.
Babysitters.
You go through all these things. It's not about you.
Yeah.
So for me, there is a constant level, like sometimes like where people will see the fact that I'm not talking a lot or like I'm not around a lot. They're like, what is his problem? And it's like, he is making sure that he can turn it on, because I still get nervous and I still get scared before every show. And I would be more nervous. I'd be more nervous if I wasn't terrified.
I feel like he gets mad at me that I don't get nervous.
No, not really. So everybody's different.
Really? And you've played for over 20, more than that, right? Over 20 years.
I'm terrified every single time.
He's the most nervous person I've ever seen before he goes on stage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change that because it lets me know I'm alive.
Yeah.
When you start your first song, does that go away? Does that dissipate?
First chorus, it never goes into like an autopilot, but there's a muscle memory that occurs.
Yeah.
And the only time I'm in a bad mood is if I potentially walk in the wrong spot and almost get lit on fire. Or
can I send you a video of that to put in
here? Please put it. I want to put the video in right now. Okay, so watch this.
Well, that's Brent.
Smooth operator. No one knew it.
I'm very proud of him, though. This is behind the scenes right now that we're talking about this. I'm very proud of him because I told him, again, we don't really do the long form podcast thing. We've never really done it. We always just do radio, and it's like he's got these things that he has to say because he's trying to get a point across, or we're selling a song. Or
we're so giddy today because we're like, we're on a podcast.
But today, he was trying to avoid anyone knowing about the fact that he nearly set himself on fire.
When?
It was the first night of the tour the first song of the tour.
By the way, all my fault.
100%.
You just stood in the wrong place.
I went. It was all my fault.
We designed this. Me and this guy Mitch Schellinger designed this crazy production show. The show that you saw in Vegas.
Yeah.
The same show.
Yeah.
Well, the stage just goes all the way out in the middle of the crowd, but the stage is graded. So what my idea for that was
meaning slanted for people that don't understand.
yes,
that.
and also it's not
like graded.
It's
so
graded.
it's hollow.
It's hollow.
Ooh.
Everything's so. My idea was, well, what if we take half the lights and put them underneath the stage to create this depth thing? Very much stolen from Kanye West, by the way. And so. But what you can do with that is unlimited amounts of things. Like you can put all the pyro under the stage. Normally the pyro's on the stage, and so huge black box, and you can see it. And you're don't go there. That's where the fire comes out of. But on this particular tour, we wanted to hide everything. So no one, when we started the show, the stage is empty. There's nothing on the stage. And then obviously you saw it's this huge production.
Yeah.
Well, at rehearsals, he hadn't really got a chance to see the show. Like to watch it from the front, like we always do. I was there till 4:30 in the morning every day, just like watching it. He wanted to watch the show. So the last day of rehearsals, he did a couple songs and then he went out and watched the show. So the first night, we have these huge, they're squared off, by the way. You can see it in the video. There's tape where it's like, don't go here. And again, he gets nervous before the show, and it's the fact that it was the first night of the tour, the first song of the tour, and it's the very end of the song, and he walks back, and dude, this huge 15-foot fireball comes up, and I mean, he's standing right over it, and somehow I'm 48 feet away. At the end of the stage, he's back kind of by where the drums are. It hit it, yeah. So anyway, the fireball comes up, and he's standing where the fireball comes out. Like there's no way to not. And he's exactly in the middle of it. And I smell hair, and I'm like, what is going on? And I look back, and I'm like, uh-oh. And he's okay. He's not on fire. But I see him like shaking it off, and I'm like, okay. And then I go back and like, he kind of controls when we start the song. He'd be like, all right, let's start the next song. And I'm like back, and he's like, I can tell he's in a different world. And I'm gonna go, are you okay? It's like, when you hear the ears ringing in a movie, like, are you okay? I can tell he does not hear me. I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm good. And I'm like, I don't think you have eyebrows anymore. You definitely don't have eyelashes.
Oh my God.
Well, what happened was it was the end of the song. It was the first song. It happened. Obviously, I already had adrenaline. Then it hit. The good thing is that I sweat like I'm the rainmaker on stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
It saved him.
First song, I was already sweating, and that's ultimately what helped me.
We also had
during
suits
that.
on.
Yeah.
These suits that were like, I was wearing a cloth one. And he was wearing this like weird like polyester type material.
So it wasn't flammable.
If he would have been wearing what I was wearing, it's over. Show's over.
Whoa.
Yeah. But the thing is that it happened, and then like I ran back at the end of I finished the song, ran to the back. I remember I grabbed Barry, our drummer, has a light so he can look down, like see like where his stuff is. Set list. Like I grabbed the set. You can see in the video too, like when the lights go down at the end of the song, like Eric's running this way, Zack, and like everyone
trying to make sure he's okay.
Yeah, and like. But what was crazy about it too, and what was funny at the same time, was the fact that I grabbed that little light that Barry has and I put it under me. I look at him, I was like, is my face messed up? And he's just like, no, you're good. I'm like, all right, cool.
I forgot he goes, do I look messed up? And I go, no, you're fine. I go, I can smell hair though.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I singed the top of my nose. I singed my lips.
Lips look really chapped.
Yeah. And the front of my hairline and what have you. But like acted like nothing happened at all. But I got to give a shout out to the guy on stage left, because right as soon as I was like, is my face messed up? He's like, no. And the lights are still down, this and that and the other. I hear this guy go, you're doing great, Brent. You look good, Brent. You're fine. You look great. And every single song from that moment on, there's 20 songs in the set or what have you. So I'd go back to the riser.
You're doing good, Brent.
He's like, you're still kicking ass.
We
You're doing great.
We have crowd mics on the stage.
That's awesome.
We have these mics on the stage that point towards the crowd, because we wear the in-ear so we can hear the crowd, and you can hear them every single song. And funny enough,
you're doing good. You're still doing good.
It didn't end with that night. A year later, we came back to the same venue.
That's true.
And we're on this tour. We've already done 150 shows of this production already.
Yeah.
We roll into the building, and me being the person who kind of takes over the creative side of what we do, our production manager, Charlie, walks up to me in the morning and goes, hey fella, that's just how he talks. Yeah. And he goes, we got a problem. And I go, what? He goes, remember how last time your boy set himself on fire? I go, never going to forget that. And he goes, a fire marshal said we can't do fire tonight. And I was like, does he know that was the first show of the tour? Like, and it's never happened since. It's like, doesn't matter. And we were not allowed to do fire that night.
What?
But what was even sillier was
we tried everything.
What was even sillier is the guy, and I get he's doing his job. But the thing that was interesting was you can't put the flames underneath the way the show is designed. But he was like, but what I will let you do is put the flame units on top of the stage right in front of everyone where you can fall over them or trip or like what. But that
you can't
didn't
put them
make
here, but you can put them 2 inches above here.
So,
yeah,
like
it was an
control
odd
thing a little bit.
So
it was very much a control.
It was just
issue.
when people do that.
It was
so you had a little bit of fire.
No.
No, we just were like, well, we can't put them on top of the stage. No, but we
just did like
these
regular
little
pyro,
things
like
that
fireworks and stuff. No fire.
Yeah, it's just these little things that you remind yourself of.
Wow.
Like, don't make that mistake again.
Yeah, I'm going to go see my favorite band, which is, and I love you guys, see you up there, but Rammstein. So
oh my gosh,
oh my god, is
incredible!
That not, like, but the pyro they use is like their stage is on fire almost.
Well, they're the most innovative pyro band anyone's ever seen.
They're insane, and I think all of them are certified.
Pyro guys.
Oh, you would.
Yeah, right.
They do the what I think it's called the Riggy rockets. Yeah. That's the first time I'd ever seen that where
tower
goes over the audience and where they send it out and they send it back and they blow the stage up.
Yes.
Throw each other in bathtubs that are on fire.
Oh yeah, and baby carriages and all this stuff. I mean, they're like insane, right? But I want to be literally. I got general admission. So I'm going to go 5-6 hours early and go right up to the gate. Yeah, I'm going to Dublin and I'm going to be standing there like this. And I've never done that except one time in my life. The first concert I ever went to was the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the Greek Theater.
Okay.
And
nice.
My friend got up on stage. We were in high school. She got up on stage, tall girl, beautiful. And she decided she's going to stage dive. And like her boot missed my face like that. And I just remember that like coming in, I don't know, they grabbed her, but that was my first concert ever.
Hold on. Can we go back? Did you say you were in high school?
You know how old I am.
I know, but your dad was Casey Kasem and your first concert, you were in high school?
My dad told me, never, ever ask me for favors. I will never ask for free tickets.
See, I love your dad even more now.
Wow. Brent probably loves that.
I do, man. I so love that.
Well, that's why we all have work ethic.
Yeah.
That's why we're all, I mean,
this guy's put 7 people on the guest list his whole life.
Yeah, it was gold. Yeah, it was gold. Like, he's like, you know, if Dad, can I have this? Can I have that? And it was like, well, if I get it for you, it won't mean anything to you.
Yeah.
You won't take care of it. But if you get it for you, you'll cherish it, you'll take care of it, and you'll have work ethic.
The biggest takeaway for me for this whole time that we've been together now is the fact that you were in high school when you went to your first concert.
Yeah.
That is wild. That is, I don't know. That's crazy.
No, my dad never brought home his work. Until he married his second wife.
What was your first job?
What was my first job?
Yeah.
Bungee jumping instructor.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
How do you instruct people how to bungee jump?
Please elaborate.
Hey, jump.
So
jump.
How do you like?
Want to hear something crazy? At 16, I'm living in Beverly Hills. I'm going to Beverly Hills High, and
for 6 months.
Literally, I hated that place. Sorry for anybody who went there. I grew up mostly in private school. It was small. I went to public schools from kindergarten through 4th, and then private, and then for some reason, Beverly High in 9th grade or 10th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So
as you do.
Yes, we're we're living there, and the parking lot for the kids' cars are all like, I'm not kidding you, Corvettes, Ferraris, Porsches. Like, these are
probably still that way.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I just wanted a car. We could walk, and I did walk to school, which sucked, but I walked, and I just wanted a car. And I'm like, I'll take my brother and sister to school, Dad. You know, just give me a car. And my 16th birthday is coming up, and I'm like, Dad, give me a hint. You know, just one hint. And it's a few weeks before my birthday. He said, okay, it's silver. I'm like, okay, silver's not my favorite color for a car, but fine. That's okay. It's neutral. We're good. Then he tells me it's metal. And this is another week goes by. I'm like, oh, yes. Then a week before my birthday, he goes, it's got keys. And I'm telling everybody I got a car, right? I'm telling everybody that I have a car. My brother and sister are excited too.
It's a safe.
It's freedom. Right? I'm like, I got it, right? Wait.
It's
So
safe.
yeah. So I get to my dad's house on the weekend because my mom and dad were divorced at this point, but we lived within walking distance of each other at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So we all walk over to my dad's house and we're there, and there's a big box in the living room. And I'm like, what is this? Maybe he's buried the keys, you know? So I go over there and it's really heavy, like very heavy box. So I'm opening it and there's this styrofoam there, and I'm like, my brother and sister come over and we all pull this thing out and set it down and remove the styrofoam. And there it is. It's silver, it's metal, and it's got keys. It was my brand new typewriter. That is my dad for you, right?
I thought you were going to say it's a bus ticket.
No, that's my dad for you, right? I got a typewriter for my 16th birthday. Now, he sets it up and he's so proud, right?
Yeah.
And we're typing something and he goes, I just want to cry at this point, but I'm just smiles on my face. I'm like, thanks, Dad. It's so nice. Just literally wanting to die. And he puts it up and he types something and he goes, watch. And it erases the letter. He's like, you don't have to use whiteout anymore. And it was like, he was so excited. So I go back home to my mom, like crying, and I have this stupid typewriter, and I used it one time, and I was so mad.
Stupid typewriter.
But that's my dad. Like, he, you know,
Typewriter's not stupid anymore, though, is it?
No. And I didn't have money to put gas in the car. I didn't have money to pay for anything. And he's like, what are you going to do? Like, you know, I remember that. And I did get a car when I was in college. I was 19, and he got me a car to get me back and forth. And he goes, if you go to college, you know, I'll get a car for you. And he did. And then I had to work for everything else. So, and that was very nice. Good. Great. Thanks, Dad. Thank you for giving me what most parents don't when they have that kind of money. Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing. A typewriter.
I'm kidding. Totally kidding. But he gave me, like, what he gave me, you can't buy for. You can't buy anything. Let me do that again because this is a good line. What he gave me, you can't buy. And that was self-esteem. That was work ethic. And that was, you know, the love I had for him, which was so immense. I just had so much respect and love. And I think in times when I could have gone one way, I didn't, because I thought about him.
You want parents like that. Those are important. And we were talking before we came in here, you know, I was talking to you about the fact that my dad means the absolute world to me. But, you know, I had two very, very strong women in my life growing up. I remember my mom, you know, she was the one that, like, a handshake was a big deal. And she was like, and she said, let me show you how you shake a man's hand. So she was like, this is how you shake a man's hand. I'm like, okay. She's like, this is how you shake a woman's hand. And I'm like, yeah, but they're the same. And she said, exactly.
I love that. I absolutely love that. That is awesome. And that's just something you'll remember forever.
Yeah, it taught me a lot. It seems like a very simple thing, but it taught me a lot.
You still have the typewriter?
No. I wish I did, but I don't. I remember we moved and I don't know what happened to it, but I really hated that thing for so long. And then you grow up and you realize, wow, what a lesson.
Yeah.
What a lesson, you know?
What does a bungee jumping instructor do?
Yeah, let's get back to this real quick. Let's. Can you elaborate?
How do you
get the instruction
I'm sure
job
you had a
of
speech,
bungee
like,
jumping?
I'm sure you had a speech like locked in.
No, I mean, it was basically, I had to say a few things, but I got my first car, and it was in the middle of like my going to school. So I went to college. So I wanted to go to just drive. And I remember taking my friend Aria, and I'm like, get in, we're just going to go pack a couple bags. We're driving. And I just took off, and we hit all these different, like off the 5 freeway. And then we went down to the 1, and I hit Santa Cruz. And I remember there was a guy that I really liked. I had such a crush on him, and he lived there. So I was like hoping to see him, but we were like, let's go to Santa Cruz. And we went to the boardwalk, and there was a crane with a cage on it. I'm like, what is this?
Bro, we used to not give a damn about safety or anything.
No. So it was a bungee jump. So the cage would go up on this crane,
it's
and then you would jump out of it. And I'm like, do you guys need anybody to work for you?
Dude, write that down on paper, and you're like, this is insane.
Yeah. That's so that was it. I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah. I'm in.
Let's do it.
I'm in. Crane, bucket, jump. You know what?
Giant rubber band. Let's rock.
The scariest thing was going up in it, because if you continue to go up and you didn't stop the ball, if you hit the ball and you could drop the actual cage, and that scared me.
What?
But once we were up and stopped, I was good.
What? Yeah, just death if you mess up.
Yeah, that was the only scary part. So then we would jump out. I have hundreds of jumps. But the crazy thing was when we didn't have any customers, this is what we would do for fun. They were called Coke drops. You would jump out and you would see how close you were to picking up a Coke can from the ground. And they would lower you inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter till you could get down. No. And your face came this close to the ground.
No, man.
No.
That was
Why?
fun.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Why?
But they also, the team went and would jump off literally the bridges. So they got the Golden Gate Bridge once. Like my team, I didn't get that one. But they did the Golden Gate Bridge. They had they did crazy stuff. But I remember the first time.
They did do crazy stuff.
It was so fun though. The first time I did skydiving, I remember going, this was it. Because there's no drop. When you jump out of a plane, you're on air. You're on, so you never feel at all like a drop. You feel like you're flying. It's a beautiful feeling, but it bored me.
I'm getting physically ill at the moment.
We were actually, we just drove from Miami to St. Augustine, Florida, and we were talking about this. And we were talking about skydiving.
I'm sitting down. My knees are going to buckle
and
any minute.
Bungee jumping. And he was like, dude, I would never do it. Because I told him he was like, I would never in a million years. I'm like, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not jumping out of a working plane.
Oh, it's so fun.
I can't, man. There's a couple of things, man.
Like, it's not fun.
I can't. I'm not bungee jumping. I'm not jumping out of a plane unless I absolutely have to.
Isn't life
I'm not getting on a motorcycle. I'm not getting on a chopper.
I ride a motorcycle.
I'm not doing none of that.
So when I was a kid, so much to my dad's chagrin.
No.
I fly helicopters. So that's the thing.
I go up in a helicopter with Bill Burr. That'd be fun.
Okay, yeah. But no, I literally, the scariest thing for me when I was a kid, I had a fear of flying. Terrifying. I would take a train, I would drive, I would do anything. I wouldn't get on that plane. I was so terrified. And then I slowly came out of it enough to be able to fly. Mm-hmm. And then I dated a guy who's a pilot. Yeah. And he taught me how it worked. And it just totally dissipated. I understood how the engine worked. I understood how the aerodynamics of it. And then...
The cool thing about turbulence is when they put it in retrospect of when you're driving a car, bumps.
Yeah, bumps. Or
it's the same
waves.
dynamic.
That's exactly right. So then I'm like, 2 years ago, I'm like, I want my pilot's license. So I started flying helicopters. So I can fly helicopters.
You can fly. Oh, you have an actual license to fly helicopters?
I have to take my written and get my full license. But yes, when people come here, I can literally give them tours. I just have to have an instructor sitting there, but I can fly it. So it's crazy.
That's insane.
Isn't that insane?
Bungee jumping instructor next to you.
So I just wanted to live life like everything. Literally, I wanted to do everything. Ride a motorcycle, fly a helicopter, fly a plane, whatever, skydive. I just wanted to live life.
I do think that there might be a thing in me later on where I may want to do I don't know about a helicopter, but flying a plane is interesting because it's so outside my comfort zone.
But once you understand it, it's so exciting, and I bet you would love it.
Everyone says to get over a fear of flying.
You learn how to be a pilot. Learn how to be a pilot, and it goes away because you truly understand. I do think fear is the fear of an unknown thing. You don't understand it, and once you understand it, it dissipates and goes away. It really does. It's
the same thing with when they tell you, I really, really want to learn a second language, and for me, it's Spanish.
Yeah.
But
he just says he wants to go there.
Tony Robbins.
Yourself.
Yeah, Tony Robbins. I think it's cool. I saw it. He had made the point of if you really want to know another language, you have to take a year, go to where that language was born, and immerse yourself in that culture, and by the time a year has happened, you should be able to speak it.
That's right. And they say that don't start with writing, don't start with that, because it's not, children don't learn with looking at words and writing it. Mm-hmm. They learn it by listening.
Yeah.
So that is very true.
Yeah.
Okay, what I always like to do, I usually do 20, not usually, I like to ask questions at the end. It's like a speed round.
I like speed rounds.
I love speed rounds, but I'm just going to ask a couple.
No, do 20. I just want to see if you can come up with it.
Yeah, let's see if you get 20.
I have 20 on my phone.
Stop.
But it's only, listen, I do that when I'm okay,
do as many as you can.
Somebody hasn't really been they haven't told me good stories. I'm I'm going to get good stories out of here. And
okay.
It's boom, 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 boom. But you guys have, you're awesome.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. What is the thing you are most proud of?
My son.
Oh, yeah. Being a father.
Awesome.
100%.
Okay. Now, that is the answer for most fathers and mothers, just so you know.
Yeah.
The second thing you're most proud of. Which I love, by the way. And then think that should be the answer.
Shoe collection. No, I'm just kidding.
This band.
Yeah, this
Awesome.
band for sure.
Awesome.
I think even me and him both like our empathy for others. I think that's something I'm very proud of. How I'm able to have that. But yeah, the band is, not, I always tell people like we're not supposed to be here, but we're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, it's like we were both told this was a pipe dream.
Yeah.
And it's like the fact that we're like A, doing it at this level, B, doing it at this level 20 years later. And it's never done this. Like I always tell people all the time, like my favorite thing about our band is this. Yeah. It's never been this. Yeah. And it's never done this. It's just been this the whole time.
The slow climb.
And it's,
but a lot of that has to do with the audience. I got to give it to them.
And it's our connection with the audience. So yeah. That's our second most proud thing.
Yeah, we always say we have one boss in this band. It just happens to be everybody in the audience.
Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts?
100%.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you believe in the afterlife?
100%.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do. Yeah.
For sure.
Once I saw that picture of
I hope I do.
Yeah.
Once I saw that picture of like all those stars and everyone, look at all these pretty stars. And I was like, yeah, those aren't stars. I'm like, well, what are they? Those are galaxies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. If that's 100% authentic, then yeah, I could believe in reincarnation.
When you said, 2 years old, that you knew what you wanted to do, to me, you've taken a past life. Like, okay, that's what I was. I was a musician, and it's so familiar to me. It's so, yes, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
How much do you think of, if you had a former life, how much do you think you bring with you?
I don't think you bring a lot, and I think
just like like a clip,
maybe a little, and I think a lot of it is erased when you come back down into it, unfortunately. But then you find kids that know their past lives.
Yeah.
That when they're very young,
they
know the names of their parents, they know where they live, they can tell you their house, they can tell you everything in their house. I mean, there's so many stories like that. Fascinating, right? So yes, do I believe in it? Yes.
There's a dynamic to that too. Like, I mean, I see it more than ever now. Like life and death is a really, really big, those two probably hot topics right now with everybody. Yeah. But the interesting thing with it, I don't know who actually said it like this, but I've heard it over the years, and it does make a whole lot of sense. And that is like the ideology of being afraid of dying. Yeah. Well, you have to remember, the story goes, there was a person talking to an assembly of kids in a high school or a college, something like that. And so his question was, raise your hand if you're afraid to die. And like everybody raised their hand. And then he goes, okay. He or she, whoever it was. Okay, cool. Now raise your hand if you remember being born. And nobody could, no one raised their hand. He was like, you're afraid of the unknown.
Yes.
That's okay. But I'm here to tell you, you have nothing to be afraid of, because you are an unknown until you were known, until you had a conscious thought. So you don't even have any preconceived notion of life before you were conscious. So you're made up of energy. Yep. Like when somebody goes to a funeral and when somebody passes away, they say, I can't believe they're gone. They're not gone. They're everywhere.
That's right. Yeah. They're everywhere. Yeah. My dad, when he passed, was in my house, and I said to my sister, like, he's here. He's turning the lights on and off. He'd play music, things like, I'm like, he's here. Dad's here. I knew it. I felt him. I've had that ability for a while to know when somebody who's not in a body is around.
Yeah.
My sister went to a medium. She never met the person before. She was just very upset. She just wanted to talk to my dad again, right? And the first thing this medium said was, your dad is with your sister right now. He's been in her house. And she just it was like,
yeah,
it's like a reality that she couldn't have for a second and just couldn't believe it. She's like, you're right.
Yeah. I used to be standoffish about a lot of that stuff. And now I'm like, until you're in the moment, you wouldn't know yourself. You know what I mean? You have to be respectful of, when you talk about the afterlife and, being present here also. Oh, I mean, I'm with you. I have feelings all the time of just people that I've lost that they'll send me hints, little things throughout the day or what have you, or when I need them the most, there's something very unique that just kind of happens.
And if you are aware, and I think if you are open to it, you'll see it. And a lot of times I think they're respectful, meaning people not in bodies are respectful of the fact that sometimes people are scared of it.
Yeah.
They don't want to see it, and they don't do it.
Yeah.
If you open yourself up and like, I'm okay, you can be around. They will show you.
Yeah.
And
100%.
very fun. It's very cool to have that and to know that. And I'm not afraid of death because of that.
Yeah.
I'm
I
just
have
not.
really good friends of mine that are atheists, and, you know, they have their perspective of it, and they try to like convince me of
Yeah.
it and what have
Yeah.
you. I'm like, listen, you do you.
Yeah.
I just don't think that it's over.
Yeah.
And that's just me.
And I respect anybody's opinion, and I respect everybody's. Like, if you don't believe it, that's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's just my belief. It's what I believe, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, totally.
It'd be very boring if everyone thought the same way.
I agree.
100%.
I don't want to hang out with people who think exactly like me.
I love having conversations with people that I completely disagree with, even politics. If you are sane and you are kind,
Yeah.
and you can present your argument, I'll listen.
Sure.
And you may change my mind on something. You
Yeah.
may not, but I'll love that
But
conversation.
the sane and the kind thing are just falling so hard
It's
so
so
fast.
bad.
You
That's a
can't, like,
whole nother
It's like the
podcast.
fact that you can't
Yeah.
like, hey, you can't have those conversations with people anymore. But
Well, in California, especially in Florida, you can have political conversations where people aren't like screaming and they actually will have facts to back it up. Or
Yeah.
they'll talk to you or they'll listen to your side.
Mm-hmm.
Here in California, it has gotten to where people go nuts on you.
no, it's its own island for sure.
It really is. I just want to thank you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for
We didn't
coming
get to
and
all
doing-
20.
No,
but
we
those
didn't
were
get to all
good.
20
But
because
those
I
were
mean, like,
good.
there's so many people
Give
in
us
the room,
three
and I
more.
know they have like
Give us
they have
three
to go to
more.
work.
Give us three more.
Three more. Speed round.
Three more speed round.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cookies or ice cream? Go.
I don't eat sugar.
Damn it!
Okay.
How? What a
That's
terrible
why you-
answer.
Sorry.
That's an
why you
awful
look-
answer.
hey,
Fake it.
That's
Fake
why
it.
you look like that at
Gluten-free,
51,
sugar-free.
though.
Then
That's true.
That's
Then
why you
you
look
know
like
what?
that at 51.
That's
Shame
true.
on me. Shame on me. Shame
No,
on
no,
me.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Shame on me.
Okay, here. Scariest thing that has ever happened to you guys.
Right before we came in here.
I don't.
See, look.
I don't. I'm always bad at these ones, like right off the bat. I can't think of anything.
The most current thing was getting on stage at award shows are
Yes.
scary.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
scary
yeah,
the other
yeah.
night.
Yeah.
It was fun, but it's always scary.
It is.
Scary.
You know what?
What's the scariest thing that's ever
did-
happened to you?
I did one time lift up something around my property, and there was a snake underneath, and I'm not a fan of snakes at all, and I didn't love that. But that's definitely not the
That
scariest.
can
thing
scare you,
happened
though.
to me.
That can definitely scare you.
You know what?
What?
The scariest thing that ever happened to me is I didn't know it at the time. I ended up later getting diagnosed with panic disorder. But the first time I had like a full-on bad panic attack, I thought I was having a heart attack
Yep.
and dying. I
Yep.
told my guitar tech to call 911. I was like, I'm having a heart attack. Call 911. He's like, I don't think you're having a heart attack. I'm like, I am having a heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty scary.
I used to have that.
I haven't had it in years.
I haven't.
but
Mine went away. I was really like
Ditching
vitamin
caffeine
deficient.
helped.
But yeah, but I was vitamin deficient,
Mm-hmm.
and that can cause issues with your nerves.
Yeah.
I had it so bad one time. I woke up in the middle of the night. I thought I was dead, and I had to call my sister. And I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm dead or not. And she's like, you're having a panic attack.
Yeah.
It scared
Yeah.
the living.
It's
Blank out.
it's the
It's
worst.
interesting. Like, there's never a convenient time to have a panic attack, but if you do have a panic attack, then this will actually work. And
Yep.
you happen to look around the room and there is a banana, eat it quick.
Yeah,
'Cause potassium will flip
I'm all
it.
good now. I got all of my vitamins in order because
Yeah.
I had Lyme disease for 11 years. Whole nother thing. I did a whole podcast on it. But when you're so deficient,
You're like a superhero. How could you look like that? You got Lyme disease. Like, you
yeah,
just
but that's
kick
why-
all the.
Riding motorcycles, flying
Yeah.
helicopters. You're the most interesting woman in the world.
Yeah.
the most interesting
Yeah.
woman in the world.
Yeah.
Like the
1,000%.
most interesting
Yeah,
woman.
exactly.
We're bringing it back.
Yeah,
It's
bring it
all
back.
on you.
Oh my God, boxers or briefs.
Briefs.
Yeah, he wears like briefs, like cut.
I love that.
I wear boxers too, but
No, I love those.
like most of the time, like
Yeah.
I'm
I
a
wear
brief guy.
I wear boxer briefs, like
Yeah.
tight, like
Tight
boxer
ones.
briefs. Yeah.
I like those. And I even like, I know it's so crazy, but like people in Europe wear the smaller ones. I don't mind
He's
that.
a smaller one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I
Whatever
like it.
works for you. That's how I how I look at it. When I was on drugs back in the day, I was camo.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
don't do drugs.
Yeah.
If there was somebody living or dead that you could have a dinner with, you had 2 hours to be with this person, living or dead, who would it be?
I know what yours would be.
Do you?
I think so. Abraham Lincoln.
I was. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I was
awesome.
gonna say Martin Luther King or Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. That's
Way to
awesome.
go.
See, I know-
Nice.
I know my guy. Chris Cornell.
Wow. Why?
I gotta not because he changed my life. like as a musician. He really did. He was probably my most. He was the greatest instructor I ever had, that I never got to meet.
Here, I can make you not cry. What if Abraham Lincoln was your server while you were eating lunch?
Just flip
6'8", walking up,
and you realize it's just Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, dude, come on, man. What are you doing at Fred Siegel at 2:00 in the afternoon?
Portrayal, though.
That is awesome.
Funny story. When Daniel Day-Lewis was up for, I can't remember he was at Fred Siegel having lunch right next to us, and I'm like, there's two moments in my life. Actually, one was very, very recent, where I was in a room with someone that was an actual star, like a star.
Last night?
And one happened last night, which was Meryl Streep, where we walked right
we
past.
Were this close
holy
to Meryl
crap!
Streep. And we're like, all these famous people are backstage. You're like, we don't care at all. We're like, that's a famous person.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
like that
yes,
is
yes.
a star.
Yes.
And then the other one would be Daniel Day-Lewis at Fred Siegel. He just
So
walked
good.
in, and you were just like, whoa.
Yeah.
And did you guys say hi to him?
No, he was sitting like literally not even 6 feet from me on the same side. And when he came in and he sat down, I can't remember what film but it was during the Oscar week. But when somebody walks in and they just have a presence.
Yeah.
That guy.
Whew,
Yeah.
Greatest actor of
Wow.
all time. That guy. Yeah.
If you weren't musicians, what would you be doing?
Chef.
don't even want to think about it.
You have to.
Oh my God. I don't know.
He doesn't ever have an answer for this because it's really like him and I never had a backup plan.
Okay, you'd be
I
a
would
chef.
be a chef, though,
but-
for sure.
Okay, so what is something besides music that you love? What's a hobby? What's something that nobody knows about you?
Here we
that
go.
You do?
Nothing. You think I'm kidding? Nothing. Listen to me.
No.
Listen to me. Look at me. He doesn't have a hobby. He doesn't have anything he likes other than his son.
Yeah, my son is the top.
Yeah.
And doing, you know what?
But that's not a
if he
hobby,
could like
so
be his
yeah,
like
yeah,
son's
yeah.
basketball coach, if he knew enough about basketball to be a basketball coach, maybe that's what he would do.
I think
he doesn't have one hobby, dude.
I think that what I would probably, I guess it would be something to the effect of, I'd probably be some kind of like a teacher.
Yeah.
Motivational
Yeah.
speaker.
Yeah.
You can be a Tony Robbins.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of like,
You
if you're
are a
asking
Tony
like
Robbins every night on stage.
Yeah. Like if you're asking like, a job that I would have,
Yeah.
like a cook or this and
Yeah.
that, like if it was something else that I would be doing, I might be a decent teacher.
Yeah. I love that.
I don't know what I would teach.
I think that's awesome.
Because my dad was a teacher for 40 years, and he went through every single aspect of the school system, all the way from, he taught kindergarten all the way up through
Gym. He was a gym teacher.
Yeah, he was a PE teacher. He was a state champion, national champion, football, basketball, girl softball coach.
Oh, he's
Like,
done everything.
Yeah, he's done
literally.
it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing he wanted to do in the back half of his career, and he had an opportunity to do it, but he was just so done. Like, he had an opportunity to be a principal, but it was towards the back half of his
Yeah,
career, and
yeah.
he was like, man, I'm done.
Yeah.
But he gave a lot to the school system.
I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, I have more questions, but I'm gonna call it here. You guys are so awesome.
Thanks for having
I've
us.
been wanting to do
blast.
that. I love that. I love that you're like, no, give me more.
Yeah. I like speed round questions. They're fun.
They are fun. They make an interview so fun, but since we're like way over an hour and we've got like a whole room full of people, I'm going to say, please come back and
Yeah.
do another.
We'll
Sooner
come
than
back
later.
anytime.
Yeah, and especially if you're in Vegas too.
Yeah.
I have another studio there, which is awesome. So
And
It's
once
not,
we
but
get
it's
back
not
out-
as awesome as this.
it's not as awesome.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not. Yeah.
because you probably don't have Sid there.
Sid's not here.
Sid there.
Sid's not
The
here.
pickle isn't there.
No,
The
Sid and her
lazy
Crocs.
pickle.
That lazy pickle.
That
you know?
lazy. I mean, come on.
That
Sid has
is
some,
something.
Sid
that
has
is
some pretty sweet Crocs on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does. She does.
With a Supreme button on
But
one
you
of
got to
them.
show
She has a
them
Supreme
now.
button
You got
on
to
them.
show them your Crocs.
Show your Crocs. Put your Crocs
Can you
in
even
camera.
see it? Or is
Hell
it
yeah.
like blurry?
My son would be losing it right now. He is all about
With
the
the
Crocs.
Supreme badge on.
It's so hilarious. She's looking at the camera trying to stick her foot up there.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You guys rock.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right back at you.
Thank you so much.
I'm going
All
to go
right.
be upset that you're 51.